Recording. Woo, woo. Hey everybody, do a little chair dance with me, why don't you? You can do a little, something, a little, just to let yourself know, like, oh, this is different. This isn't just like some other thing I've got to sit through. This is a participatory, transformational event. Like my whole life could change just from this half hour with Sam, but it's certainly happened before. Chat says it's disabled. That's so weird. I was just looking at the, this happened the other week, and I was just looking at the settings for this, and it didn't say anything about chat being disabled. So I'm so sorry that chat is disabled, but please use the Q&A function. That will work fine. Or if you're on the Facebook, you can comment and we'll see you as you comment, or we'll come back through and comment later. Hey, Veronica, what's up, girl? Glad to see you as ever. And she was signed in as me. Yeah, I thought so. All right, cool. Let's, oh, so the hosts and panelists can chat. Let's try that. Okay. All right, enough fiddling. Let's breathe. All right, this is the main point of this, is to center into this present moment and relish it. This is the only one of these we get. You are the only you that there is. And now is the only time that there is. So letting your belly go really soft, dropping your shoulders down and back, maybe shake out your hands a little bit. You want to make funny faces. Like let's awaken the body to do something a little teeny bit different. We're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. We're going to do that 3 times. You're welcome to ignore it if you'd rather ignore it, but most people find it to be a very enjoyable experience, and I myself do it many times a day. So belly super soft. Oh, sigh. Yeah. Good. You ready? Let's inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Doesn't that feel delightful? Oh, maybe put a reminder in your calendar or something so that you remember to do that again today. You can see my chat, but it's still disabled for you guys. That's so weird. I wonder what Zoom has done. Veronica will have to do a little investigation later today and find out what is what and what is up, because I know a lot of you don't like to be on Facebook and you'd rather be here in the Zoom with us, and I don't blame you one bit. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today is, first of all, I just want to remind you all that one of the most delightful, to the point of being addictive, feelings we can have is that of being right. Oh, how we love to be right. We love to be right. We seek all kinds of opportunities to be right. We congratulate ourselves almost endlessly when we are right. And I know you're too polite to do that out loud, but inside of your mind, you're like, I knew that. I knew the answer to that. Right? It's why we like watching Jeopardy. We're like, see, I knew that was Agrippa. I knew that was, Laura Ingalls Wilder. Like, we love to know the answers to things. We love to be right. There's a special thrill, isn't there, when like we've told somebody something and then they don't do it our way. And then we're like, I know, I told you that wasn't going to work. I knew, right? Okay. So first of all, let's just acknowledge that it's not the prettiest part of our personality, but it is very, very real. And conversely, and on the other handly, we hate to be wrong. We really hate to be wrong. It hurts us. It causes actual pain for us to be wrong or to feel wrong, or to have other people tell us that we're wrong. I myself, it is one of my greatest sort of weaknesses in my spiritual development is how I will still get so reactive when I feel like someone is saying like, well, clearly you didn't think this all the way through. I'm like, oh, the hell I didn't. Like I may be wrong, but it's not because I didn't think about it. Believe me, I thought about it and I overthought about it. That's what I do. I overthink. Maybe you do too. So clearly there's invitations here for us, right? There is an invitation here in this pain that we feel around being wrong and how we feel like everybody's going to laugh and point at us, or there's going to be some terrible consequences, and how many choices and decisions we do not make or we allow to get made by default because we don't want to be wrong, right? Oh, I feel like I should, I don't know, shop around for my home insurance, but I don't want to be wrong. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Gosh, I feel like I should be more fashionable, but I don't want to look weird. So I'll just wear the same old things I always wear. Oh, I would like to find someone new to be with. I'd like to find a partner or a lover or a friend, but, I don't want it. It could get weird. People sometimes are strange. You hear funny stories about online dating. I better just stay home and watch Trevor Noah. So make a note for yourself right now. What are you not doing because you're afraid you're going to be wrong? Because you're afraid other people are going to think you're wrong. You're going to think you're wrong. Other people are going to think you're wrong. Maybe you're going to be wrong publicly. Maybe you're going to be wrong in a big old public belly flop, like ugly wrong. And I want to underline for you, this is a legitimate fear. You are totally allowed to have this fear. But I want you to notice how much you're letting it drive the car. Right? So write down for yourself just one or two things that you might do, or at least investigate, that you've been holding yourself back from because you're afraid that you're going to be wrong. Lucy says, hi, Lucy. Some of you know Lucy. She's our customer service person and our dedicated member of the team. Julie says, ugh, that's why I hate shopping for computers and phones and the like, right? Because you feel like, oh, there's so many choices out here. I might be wrong. And then they insist on speaking languages that no one understands, right? They're like, well, this one has 32 bibby bytes of things. And I'm like, well, how much is a bibby byte? And they're like, well, a lot. And I'm like, great. How much? Like, I don't watch TV on my phone. Does that help? Like, how many songs do you have? I'm like, none. I use it mostly as a phone. Like, tell me how much a bibby byte is in practical language, and they can't. Right. So what are you holding yourself back from, Julie's? But these are knowable things, right? You can find out a computer that's going to help you. There are experts in the field. There's articles published every day. You could probably spend about 15 minutes talking to Veronica and she could point you in the right direction. All right. So that's question number one. What are you not doing, putting off doing, or just allowing to go into sort of default mode because you don't want to be wrong? Okay. The next question is, what are you holding on to because you love feeling right? Right? How much are you defending what you do? How much are you not challenging yourself because you feel like, well, I'm right. So that's the end of that story, right? So that's just the first point of inquiry about this being right, being wrong thing. It's not a character defect. Everybody feels this way, right? But again, it's worth looking into, because when you can stand there and go, ooh, I was so wrong, or I was a little wrong, or I was right and I don't feel smug about it. I feel like, well, that was just a luck. That was another choice today in the billions of choices that I make every day. Oh, I happened to give some advice that was helpful. That's great. Moving on, right? I'm not going to take it on as meaning something about me that I was right. Gail says, pushing through something now because you only live once. Amen, sister. Amen. This is it. I was wrong and that's okay. Or I was right and that's not that big a deal. Like, I'm not going to hold it over Luke's head for the rest of his life that I was right. I might hold it over his head for the rest of the morning, but I won't hold it over his head for the rest of his life. So I say this because I was recently put in a position to test a couple of my own theories, a couple of the things that I teach and tell you guys to do. But like all teachers, I am not perfect in my own practice of my own stuff, right? So one of the things I ended up doing was reaching out to a lot of people, and by a lot I mean maybe 30 or so, of really high-powered people who are, pretty much have their shit together, are very successful in what they do, have a really interesting point of view, and most of them I haven't really talked to for years, some of them for like 25 years. But it is one of the beautiful things about social media is that just because we haven't actually seen each other in person for 25 years doesn't mean we're completely out of touch, right? I've seen their kids grow up. They've congratulated me on my book or whatever. We've, oh, look, here's an old photo I found. Like, we've stayed a little bit in touch. So, but still, it was a little out of the blue. And so I pinged people. I pinged them on Facebook. I texted them. I didn't start with email for most of them. I started with either a text or hi kitty, or a Facebook message or some other kind of direct message, a WhatsApp or something. And I felt super shy about it. Of course I did, right? I was not exactly a member of the Happy Childhood Club. I certainly did not have a good social experience in school. I was a year younger and a head taller than pretty much everybody else in my class, and I was very weird. I was a very weird child. I didn't have a lot of friends. And that like all of us, that early stuff stays with me. Plus, I'm a 4 on the Enneagram, so if there's a way for me to feel left out, believe me, I will find it. But I really wanted to, I'm doing a little project and I really wanted to populate it with kind of the highest caliber people I knew. So I reached out and said, hi, you're one of the highest caliber people I know. I'm doing a little thing. Do you want to talk about it? And honestly, it's been great. It's been amazing. It's been delightful. People are, in general, so kind and so lovely. A few have been like, oh yeah, not really interested. Nice to hear from you. Peace out, which I'm like, great. Thank you so much. Like, let's not prolong this if you're not interested in talking to me. Let's be polite and move on. Other people I've had just lovely little exchanges with, got to, catch up and hear about their lives and some fun stuff, but they're still not interested. Other people were like, oh my God, how psychic are you? I was just talking about this. I totally want to talk to you about it. This is a miracle. This is how crazy this gets. I reached out to one friend of mine, and she was kind of the first person I reached out to about this thing I'm doing. And she answered the phone. She was on the beach in Maui and, or some place in Hawaii. Maybe it's not Maui. I don't know. I've never been to Hawaii. Isn't that crazy? I have to go to Hawaii. I would love it, don't you think? All right. So she's somewhere in Hawaii. She's on the beach. And we start talking about this thing. She's like, this is amazing. I think this is exactly what I need. I'm so interested to partner with you on this. As we're talking, another person we know from this, I met this woman like 20 years ago. Another person from the same thing that I met her at 20 years ago walks by. She's like, hey, let's call her Jennifer. Jennifer, look who's on the phone. I'm like, oh my God, hi. So I got to connect with another person I hadn't talked to in ages. And she updated me. So this third person who had been walking by on the beach, when she moved to Hawaii some years ago, we were talking and she had found out that Jim Carrey lived nearby, like lived on her beach. And she was really, really interested to meet him. Who wouldn't be? But she was shy and she didn't know how to go about doing it. And I was like, please let me bring you some information about how to talk to celebrities, because when I was working full-time as an actor, I had my resume and then, at the bottom it says special skills. And that's where you say like, oh, I speak French, or I can drive stick, or I'm an acrobat, or whatever it is you do. Mine said good with kids and celebrities. So here's a way to be good with celebrities is, I said, look, if you see Jim Carrey on the beach or out in the world, first of all, use your spidey sense, vibe it out. Is he like in a solo mood, or is he in an open, I can be approached mode, right? Because if he's in a solo mood, just like you, when you're in a solo mood, you don't want anybody talking to you, much less some stranger you don't know. So it's like, use your good spidey sense to tell, because she would see him periodically. I'm like, you'll see him all the time. So you will find a moment where he's sort of open. So I'm like, so first check and see if they're open. Second of all, do not, under any circumstances, mention how big of a fan you are or how much you love this movie or that movie or this piece of work or that piece of work. Do not. All right. Talk about something that's happening in the moment. Okay. Like, oh, here, gosh, so you see him on the beach. He seems a little open. You say, I saw 3 dolphins yesterday, and one of them did that spinning corkscrew thing. It was amazing. Like, just reference something that's happening in the actual environment. Make a loving observation about something. Wow, those tourists, look like they're going to need some aloe vera. I don't know, something. Something that does not demand a response, that just sort of opens the door. And then he will either respond or not respond. And then you just have a conversation like a normal person. Do everything you can to forget that this person is famous. One of my most famous friends, we're friends because I didn't really know how famous he was. When we first met, I was like, oh, yeah, I knew he was on a show and stuff, but I was like, okay, great to meet you. And I sort of treated him like everybody else, and he was enchanted. So I was like, great, we're friends. So I started making these little reach out things for this project. And not only do I have a number of people who are very interested, and I think it's going to go really well, but I also got an invitation to Nantucket. I got an invitation to Hawaii and she's like, I'll introduce you to Jim Carrey, because you're the one who told me how to. I'm like, okay. I have generated, well, we'll see what the final numbers are. Probably around $40,000 ish. We'll see. I'll let you know in the next couple of weeks. And this is with no sales page, no email campaign, no funnel, no webinar, no nothing. This is me just pinging people that I dig and that I think might kind of be interested. And the beautiful thing about doing this, because more people than you think you do, right? And I have been saying for years, if you spend 15 minutes a day and do one reach out, one letter, one thank you note, one email, one ping, one direct message, one text, one whatever, you will succeed. You will grow whatever it is you're trying to grow. And whether that's a business thing or a spiritual thing or a social life or a love life or a getting kittens adopted, I don't know, whatever it is, you will succeed, because everything good comes to us through other people. God comes to us through other people. Information comes to us through other people. Help comes to us through other people. Money comes to us through other people. Love comes to us through other people, right? And sometimes we think that if the person goes away, the love goes away. No, the person is just a vehicle for the love. The love is the same. The love is always there. The money is always there. The help is always there. And it comes to us through other people. So if you're not getting it, go find some more people. And if the people aren't delivering, then say, who do you know? Who could you introduce me to? All right, I just got asked to be on this podcast panel thing, and the woman was super great and charming. It turned out we actually had met before, which both of us had forgotten. And she said, is there other people you'd like to invite to be on this panel? I was like, oh, sure. And again, I pinged like 4 or 5 people that I hadn't talked to in ages. So this is my question for you. What area in your life is feeling a little flat? Would you like to see a little boom, a little lift, a little new energy, a little something fun happening, some miracles maybe? You know, miracles happen all the time. Once in a lifetime opportunities happen all the time, right? And they're indiscriminate. It doesn't care how old or young you are or where you live or how much you weigh or what you look like. It doesn't matter. So what is the area in your life that you'd like a little zhuzh? And what's the name of one person you could ping? Or 2 people or 5 people or 10 people? And believe me, once you start thinking of them, you'll think of other people. You'll think like, oh, right, I could ask, you know, Sherry. Oh, but right, she was friends with that guy, Jim. I could ask Jim, whatever. And then you have to do it. And just like the 4 agreements, we're not taking anything personally. If they don't get back to us, they don't get back to us. They probably didn't see it. You know, if they're not interested, they're not interested. Thank you so much. But maybe they are interested. Maybe something really cool is about to happen that would only happen because you reached out. Julie says, this topic is so apt for me today. I literally just started setting a time aside every week for contacting people. Yes, 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 yes. June says, how do I deal with someone who has a habit of needing to be right about everything and tell me so, even the most trivial things? Otherwise, great person. I delight in making a huge joke about it. So every time it comes up, and because I have a couple friends like that too, one in particular who's very competitive and very much likes to be right. And every time she's right, she's like, told you. And I'm like, I know, you were right. And on behalf of your rightness, I would like to present you with this honorary beat up calculator in acknowledgement of your extreme rightness. And she laughs and I laugh and we let it go. You know, I'll make up a little song. This person was right. I was wrong. I also practice. It took me a little bit. I practiced saying I was wrong. Thank you so much. I was wrong. It was right around the same time I also had to practice saying, I don't know the answer to that. Or I don't have an answer for that. Right? It was when I was starting my business and all of a sudden I was the CEO, which I was like, I don't even know what that means. What does that stand for? I wasn't even sure. And I was terrified that somebody was going to, you know, find out that I didn't know everything I thought I knew, or that they were going to ask me a question I didn't have the answer to. And then I thought, well, of course they're going to ask you a question you don't have the answer to. What, do you suddenly know everything? So if somebody asks you something you don't know, you say, wow, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. Or sometimes it's like, oh, that's a great question. I don't feel like I have an opinion on that. I don't think I have enough information to have an opinion on that. What do you think? Right. And I have to say, especially in intimate relationships with my family, with my sisters, with my husbands, plural, the phrase, you were right, I was wrong. God, it just buys you. It puts so many coins into your emotional bank account, right? It really, it's a beautiful thing. Isabella says, for me, being right goes deeper than that. It means I can trust myself. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's part of where that good feeling comes from, of like, ooh, I am making good decisions. This is excellent. Right. And really a little smugness goes a long way. Like, it's a great motivator. It's when you feel a little sexy, a little, you know, like you got your awesome on, that's a great feeling. So, you know, in the same way that vanity can be a great motivator, smugness can be a great emotional temperature to live in. I'm thinking of smugness like your air conditioning, like, oh, we could set smug to like 72 and we all be in a very comfortable level of smugness. But this is what I want for you today. I want you to reach out. I want you to reach out. Some of the other concepts that I have proved myself right with in the last week or two have to do with selective neglect. We can't do everything. If you could see beyond what this, it's terrible. There's terrible, horrible, messy things happening over there. And I'm just like, you know what? Not today. Not today. Can't do it. Can't handle it. It's just going to have to be a mess today. Maybe tomorrow, you know? And it's a beautiful thing to just say, I'm not dealing with this today. I know it's a mess. I know it needs handling, and I'm not doing it. And the last one, of course, is trust the process. Trust the process. Here's the bracelet that says, trust the process. Are we still selling these, Veronica? Can you get these on the Real Sam Bennett shop? If not, just go to Etsy. That's where I got them. Understanding that as things are unfolding, that I am not in charge of the entire process. And as my friend Linda says, trust the delays. Sometimes things are mysteriously delayed. And you just got to go, okay, this is part of the unfolding. I'm doing my bit. I'll just be patient, right? We have necklaces. Awesome. Yay, smugness. Along those lines, some people like to say something contrary no matter what you say, like it's a habit with them. I just say interesting with a period on it. Yeah, sure. And I will tell you too, there is a great, deep spiritual learning around letting other people be wrong. I'm just gonna leave that right there for some of you. Sometimes it is important to just let people be wrong. They don't want your advice. They don't want your information. They like being wrong. They're committed. And as long as they're not, actively hurting themselves or someone else, who cares? Can you not care? Can you just let them be wrong? They got to learn their lessons, man. They're not going to hear it from you. And we've been that guy. I've been that guy. Nobody could tell me anything. I had to prove it to myself that I was wrong. And sometimes I was right. So, yeah. And some of you, was it last week? We were talking about that thing I read about how men will often greet the suggestions of women with an automatic no. So women end up like pre-arguing inside of our head before we even say anything. Which is just more like emotional labor. And when I said as much to Luke, I said that I just read this interesting thing about how often men will greet suggestions of women with a no. And Luke goes, well, I don't think I do that. I'm like, dude, you just did it right now. And he goes, well, no, I mean, and I'm like, and it's true, he doesn't in general mean by things with no, but occasionally he does. And clearly right then he did. It was very funny. Crystal says, I like not knowing. It activates my curiosity. Yeah, this is so the thing, right? You do not have to be smart. You just have to be curious. You do not have to be smart. You just have to be curious. Especially with stuff where it's like, dumber people than you have figured this out. Dumber people than you have figured out how to make, $1 million a year. Dumber people than you have figured out how to get high quality clients. Dumber people than you have figured out how to make time to write or paint. Dumber people than you have figured out how to disengage from toxic situations. Like, it can be done, clearly. So engage your curiosity, be willing to be wrong, enjoy your be smugly correct, enjoy the quiet smugness of the correctness, and reach out to people today, and only the ones you really would love to hear from. Don't do it for people you feel sticky or icky about. That's going to go weird. And I had to have that talk with myself too. There was a couple of people I was like, oh, that person would be such a good match. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't love them. I don't love the way they behaved in that situation. I don't love, this, that, or the other thing. So listen to your love. Let the love guide you. Let the love rule. Let love rule. All right. DJ, Q, let love rule. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. It's a delight, as always, to be here and to share with you and hear what you're up to. We're here every Thursday, so let's do one more breath. And I want you to reach out to someone and then ping me and let me know how it goes. Go into the Secrets of Highly Productive People, or Creative Secrets of Highly Productive People, or Productive Secrets of Highly Creative People, or whatever we're calling it these days. And let me know how it went. Okay? Go ahead and reach out to somebody that could help move things forward, right? You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Veronica. You're the best. Mwah. Bye, everybody.